Big transfer news in the Premier League this afternoon as Spurs have reached an agreement with Crystal Palace for Ezie. The news broken just now by Ben Jacobs. So we don't have any details regarding transfer fee or the overall package as yet. However, I would anticipate it to be in the region of 55 to 60 million plus add-ons, just like it was being reported last week. And I think this is a transfer a lot of people is now expecting to happen anyway. I'm certainly one of those. The interest last week seemed genuine, it seemed real, the transfer seemed likely, and it looked like a bit of a goodbye by Ezie towards the away fans at Stamford Bridge on Sunday afternoon. But anyway, huge news for Spurs, big news for Crystal Palace as well, of course, not necessarily for good reasons, but for good reasons, it is huge news for Spurs. Now, when I started this channel, I promised myself I'd cover every team fairly. Now, admittedly, I probably don't do that. I probably cover the other 14 in the Premier League more than I do the big six. I'm balancing it up here. I'm doing a video mainly about Spurs. I'm balancing it up, but I don't mind covering another 14. I quite like doing them more than I do the big six. They get enough coverage. They don't need a gobby Scotsman with 5,000 subscribers doing it as well. They've got enough coverage. But second of all, and this is the main one, I promised myself I'd be fair, I'd be honest, I'd be balanced, I wouldn't be biased. Now, admittedly, I'm a little bit biased. I don't mean to be. I think it's just human nature to have a little bit of bias in you. I do my best not to, but I can't help it. But for this video, for this next 5 minutes anyway, I'm taking my claret and blue specs off and I'm laying them on the table. I can pick them up later. Because this is a fantastic signing for Spurs. And as a West Ham fan, I hate it. But stepping back from that, taking those specs back off again. They went back on after a few seconds, didn't they? Taking them back off again. This is a superb signing for Spurs. Before I get into it, just want to say a massive thank you to Chris Bennett, who left 3 super chats on the channel over the last couple of weeks on 3 separate videos, totaling £9. So Chris, thank you so much. You account for 5% of my earnings over the last 4 weeks. So for the last third of July and the first 2/3 of August, 5% of my income's for you, from you, sorry. So a massive thank you to Chris for your support. Didn't leave any messages, he just said thank you. And I just want to say thank you back to Chris. Right, Ezie to Spurs. Will be one of my favourite transfers. Well, it's not, but you know what I mean. In terms of what the buying club is getting, this is right up there. All summer it's been Xhaka, it's been Anton Stack, who, by the way, got my first fan mail last night. A Leeds fan emailed me to say that they heard me talk about Stack a couple of weeks ago and they didn't know much about him. And because I've been bigging Stack up a little bit on this channel, right? Then obviously they played against Everton last night and Stack I thought was fantastic. So he emailed to say that he thought Stack had a good game and just, I don't know, thanks, I guess, for the videos, which was very, very nice. First bit of fan mail and Tartan Geo. Love it. I'm blushing. Anyway, I don't know if any Tottenham fans are going to give me any fan mail, but this would be one of my favourite transfers. It's up there with those two. Ezie's one of my favourite players in the Premier League away from West Ham. I absolutely love him. I think he's just a wonderful footballer. I think he's an elegant footballer. Can give you goals, can give you assists. And he's got what I call the X factor. And there's not many players in the Premier League have that. I think he's just got that ability. He just oozes class. I enjoy watching him play football. But he can quite often be the difference. He's the type of player that can be the difference between 1 point and 3. Now, he nearly was that at Stamford Bridge on Sunday until they decided to implement the rule for the first time after 6 years. Twice in a row that's happened. Opening game of the season, Ezie scores a free kick and doesn't count. Remember the one against Brentford? Started last season when the referee blew his whistle as the ball was mid-flight heading towards the top corner. He's got some bad luck, innit he? And he does have some bad luck because he can pick up a few injuries, Ezie. He's almost guaranteed to be injured at some point this season. I feel like he does miss a few games with niggles. It never seems like the most serious injury, but he just disappears for 5 or 6 games. But when he's fit, I think he's just an incredible footballer. I think Spurs are bringing in a top talent, one of the best in his position in the Premier League. He's just turned 27 years of age as well. And I think this move, I think he would have gone anyway, but I think this move will secure Ezie going to the World Cup because of how Tuchel prioritises Champions League football. I think Thomas Frank will be a wonderful manager for them as well. I would say this is bad news for Maddison, gets injured, and now they're bringing in someone who I think is better than him. So when he does get back from injury, albeit it will take a year, I think he's going to struggle a little bit. I think this might spell the end of Maddison's time at Tottenham. I think once he comes back and he's fit, I think he might be looking towards the exit door. Eze is utter class. This is a massive signing for Spurs. It's a statement signing. This is similar, in my opinion, this is there with Man United signing Cunha. He would also be at the top of my favourite transfers of the summer. It's a signing that says we're buying class. We're just bringing someone in. We know what they're bringing. We're paying what we've got to pay to get him. And he's going to make a significant difference. And I think he will as well. For Crystal Palace, though, it's a bit of a blow. It's obviously a lot of money to get. And they're strongly linked with Alkmaar of Leicester City. Now, I'm a fan of Alkmaar, right? I think he's a wonderful player. But he's not Eze, right? And I guess this is an issue with Crystal Palace. How do you replace Eze? I don't think you can. Like, how do you replace Ezie? You couldn't. Now, Sarr's a great player, don't get me wrong. He's far better than I ever expected him to be at Selhurst Park. But Alkmaar saying Eze, and there's going to be a bit of a drop-off. Crystal Palace need to spend the rest of the money, and there will be about 30 million of it. They need to spend that wisely. I'm a bit worried for Palace in the sense that they've got quite a thin squad and they've got a European campaign coming up. They need to get signings in plural before the end of the window. There's a lot of pressure on them now to go Parish and co. I think their Hobbs is going in there, isn't he? The former Wolves sporting director of football, or whatever it was. I think he's off to Selhurst Park. I mean, he's got his work cut out. Only 2 weeks of the transfer. I would assume it starts after the transfer window, but Palace need to do some business and they need to do it quick. But anyway, wonderful signing for Spurs if this one goes through. I think they're getting an elite level player on their hands here. And if ever Spurs are struggling in the game, if they're up against a low block team, they're struggling, this guy can pull something out of the bag. Now moving on to Nottingham Forest. They've been busy, haven't they? 3 signings and there's more to come. Amadi Hutchinson, £37.5 million from Ipswich. I like it. Feels expensive, feels a bit chunky, but he's a talented player. I've always been a fan of Hutchinson. Like I said, the Euros changed my opinion of him slightly because I've seen him playing on the left, which I hadn't done so. At Ipswich, he was just the right. And when I, compared him Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest, both with a European campaign coming up, and it was interesting to hear Nuno speak last week because he was very unhappy, but it was down to the CAS appeal ongoing. Ruled in Forest's favour on Monday, so a week ago, and since then they've gone out and spent the money. Within 1 week, they've gone from having a squad that looked a bit light for a European campaign to one that looks well equipped for a European campaign. If I was a Forest fan, I'd be very, very excited. As a West Ham fan, I'm very jealous. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm holding my hands up here. I am jealous at the business Nottingham Forest are doing. I wish that was us that was doing it, but Hutchinson's gone in there. Fantastic signing. James McAtee's gone in there for Manchester City. 30 million. Now, this one, I'm a bit uneasy about it. There's no doubt he's a talented player. I just look at the squad against at Forest and say, well, where is he going to play? Because you ain't taking Gibbs White out, and I appreciate there's a lot of football, so there will be a lot of rotation. But he might have to be patient at the City ground because that's Gibbs White's position, and if he's fit, he starts. It's as simple as that for me. Now, there's no doubt, like I said, there's no doubt he's a wonderful young player with a lot of potential. But I feel more confident of Hutchinson being a success than McAtee for some reason. I don't know. There's just something about McAtee that just... And I was very pro West Ham signing him 12 months ago. Don't know. There's something about him. I'm just a bit unsure. I'm waiting to see. They've also signed a striker from Rennes who I've heard of but never seen play. Don't know how you pronounce his name. Calamuendo. Had I said that without telling you, I don't know how you say his name, you might have just believed I knew how to say it. Let me try that again. Nottingham Forest have signed a striker from Rennes. Calamuendo has gone in there for £26 million. There you go. That was believable, weren't it? But again, Forest now looks stacked. Granted, Igor Jesus joined quite early in the window, but if we pretend he didn't, they had Chris Wood and Awoni. Now they've got Wood, Jesus, Callum Wendo, and I think they've still got Awoni. I think he's still there. I mean, they are stacked up front. They've got options out wide, options in number 10. Forest are building a good squad here. Some teams build a good starting 11. Forest have built an excellent squad. Did I mention I'm jealous? Right, moving off to Brentford. Okay. While I'm honest, and I can be quite positive about most things on this channel, there are some I just look at and think, I'm not sure. Ouattara going to Brentford for 43 million. Worth up to 43 million. That includes the add-ons. Feels chunky. It feels very expensive. He's still a young player, only 23, so there's a lot to come. And I think he's gone to a good club in Brentford. I think he'll get into the team and stuff like that. But, don't know. I just feel like 43 million is a bit rich for me for this player. We'll wait and see. I hope to be proven wrong. I hope he goes there and smashes it. But, yeah, I wouldn't... 30 million perhaps, even that feels a bit chunky, but don't know, I feel like Bournemouth have had Brentford's pants down a little bit with that deal. But speaking of Bournemouth, Gannon Doak has gone in there from Liverpool for 20 million and wants the name Gannon in his surname. He now wants to recognise his dad's surname as well as his mother's, so that's his new name, Gannon Doak. I'm all for it. Obviously I'm praying this one works out well because, you know, Scottish link and all that. I like him, as I keep pointing out. The thing is with him, there's a lot of patience required for a lot of these transfers, and Gannon Doak's one of them. I seen him in a Scotland shirt rip Gvardiol a new one for the entire time he was on the pitch, up against one, and this was Gvardiol a while ago, so it was like he's playing left back week in, week out for Man City, so it wasn't like he was playing centre back for City, then suddenly went out to left back for Croatia. And he was at the top of his game, Gvardiol, and Doak just battered him. But then I've seen him get pocketed in the Championship by some pretty poor left-backs as well. So there's going to be a lot of patience required from Bournemouth fans with him. But I think he'll suit the way that Bournemouth play, that fast counter-attacking football. Areola likes his wingers. He likes having width in his team. I think Doak's going to enjoy that. I think I prefer him out on the right. I think he might find himself on the left quite often as well. I think this is a good move. This feels like a safe move for him. He was linked to my team, West Ham, but I didn't want him at West Ham because I don't think we were the right club for him. Our style of football, our formation, our strategy, none of it was adding up for Gannon Doak. I thought that would have been a bad move for him. So as a Scotland fan, I'm really pleased he's not come to West Ham. I'm pleased he's gone to Bournemouth. And I think Bournemouth have got a really good player there. For 20 million as well, it's punt money, isn't it, for an attacking player in the Premier League these days? It's just mad. We're speaking about 20 million if it's a tenner. But essentially, that's what it is. But they've sold Ouattara, got Gannon Doak in, and made a profit of 20 million quid. I think Bournemouth have done all right in that transfer, personally. And lastly, we're going to finish it up with a Sunderland player, Nordi Mukiele. I don't know. Let me try that again as well. Sunderland have signed a right-back / centre-back from PSG, Nordi Mukiele. I even messed that up, didn't I? Anyway, 12 million quid. A deal worth up to 12 million quid once all the add-ons and stuff like that. I don't know much about him. I feel like I should, considering he's coming from PSG. I've heard of him. It's not an unknown name. But listen, when you tune into Tartan Geo, you get the truth. And sometimes the truth is, I've not watched this geezer play football. And I would rather just tell you I know nothing than pretend and just blag it. There's too many of them, and I don't like it. You can tell. I'd rather just chat nonsense about the ones I do know and say nothing about the ones I don't know. So another good signing on the face of it for Sunderland, in terms of experience and stuff like that. They're here to stay, Sunderland. They're the most impressive team with transfer business for me. Youngest team fielded in the Premier League at the weekend. I think most of the signings have been under the age of 23 as well. They're doing good business. They're here to stay, but they're not only building to... Sunderland are not buying players to finish 17th. Sunderland are buying players to, well, maybe this season finish 17th. but they're buying players that are good enough to get them up into challenging for the top half football in Premier League. I genuinely believe that. Very impressed by their business. Very impressed by Nottingham Forest business. And unfortunately, I'm very impressed by Spurs signing Ezie.